Hello, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for coming back to join me today. I'm continuing with my Queen Victoria theme journals. I've had a couple of people ask me about reserving these, and I'm happy to reserve anything, of course I am, but I just wanted to kind of explain what I'm doing. These two are going to be a hardcover journal. That's what my plan is. For the cover, I'm going to use this wallpaper that's a lovely green, and it's going to have a soft spine of the tartan. So it's going to be a soft spine 2-signature journal with something in between the 2 signatures. So that's the way that one's going. And then this one is going to be a single signature. So this is the single signature that I was working on. I've put some ruffle on the pages, and that's going to have the tartan cover. And I do love bubble trim. I know not everybody does, but I've got this beautiful deep blue, and I just thought that might be nice and just set it all off as a nice regal kind of theme and feel to it. So that's where that one's going. So I've got a 2 signature with an inside middle pocket hardcover, and I've got a single journal that I'm doing. So looking at the 2 that I was working on briefly, that we were doing last week, or in the last video, whenever that was, I've finished. I've put the envelope on the front there. I've used one of the images from the Queen Victoria sketchbook to go in that pocket there, and I've just put a couple of little tags also from the sketchbook in there. I don't want to put anything on that page because I just love that spread, and I thought, you know, whoever has this journal may want to put a picture or something, or they could put paper over it, but I just like the spread. I don't want to cover it up. Yesterday I made a couple of these, which are pockets, so book pages from the Queen Victoria books that I've got. So that's a pocket that's going on there, and it's going to be like a belly band pocket, that one, so it's going to have something tucked behind it. And then I watched Rachel, Roxy Creations, and she was making these, but she hadn't sealed them up, so she'd left it as a writing space, so a flap down, whereas I've done it as a pocket. So that's going to go on there. This is going to have a tuck spot just there. I don't think I've done anything else. Oh yeah, I've made that a pocket, so that's a pocket there. So that's going to be a tuck spot in there. Apart from that, that hasn't changed at all. This one was the other pocket that we did, and we've got an image of Queen Victoria from her sketchbook in there. I think it was from a sketchbook. And then that one, I did put the pocket on, but when you take it out, you've still got that beautiful fabric. And if you remember, I had these 2 images, and what I've done is I've joined them together to make a larger journaling space because I couldn't decide which one to use. So that goes in there, and I don't think that I have done anything else in there. No. So that's as far as I've got with that. So that's going to be 2 signatures in that journal, hardcover. And then I've done a little bit of work on the signal. I can't get my words out today, can I? Single signature. I've used one of the CD cases from Amy at Crafty Cat, and I've put some vellum on it. And then there's a journal card in there of Queen Victoria, and I've backed it onto some tartan paper because I just thought it looked pretty. So that goes in there like that. And I've put a couple of little beads and a little key on there, and then that opens up, and this was one of the book pages from the books that I've got, so I've done that as a flip out, and some extra journaling papers in there, and that's just going to go nicely tucked in there. What else did I do? Oh, I've done this as a pull out on the back page, so that's going to pull out like that, and it opens like that, so lots and lots of journaling space in there. I've done this, which is, that flips out. I was going to do it as a pocket on there and have it as a tuck, but it's quite a tight pocket because I've done it wider. So I think actually I'm going to leave it free floating. I'm going to leave it as a floating pocket, and then whoever, if anyone ends up with this journal, they can stick it in if they choose to, but it is an extra writing space. I've put the little pocket on there. And I've added some bits and pieces onto the quote pages. So that's got one of those pockets as well with an image behind. That's a pocket. And then I've just put some of the images from Mrs. Cog from her Queen Victoria kit in here. That's a little tuck spot that comes off there. Another one of Mrs. Cog's images there. These images of Andrea's are just beautiful. Some kind of tracing paper that's been copied on. I put that one in. I think I'd showed you that last time. That's a pocket just there. That's so something to go inside of there. This is what I'm going to have a go at making today for the other one. And there's all sorts, just different pockets and different tucks that I've put in. Haven't finished doing it. That's a pocket as well. So I think this is a really, really old 1800s, 18 something it's got on it. 1868. So it is grubby and it is old, but I've included it because of the date. So it's Queen Victoria's time. So that's where I am with the single signature. And it's already getting quite chunky. It tends to get chunky when you put ruffle on, but I just thought that was really nice. So that's what I did. So what I wanted to do today, my idea is for the two signatures, I want to put in the middle of it a folder of some sort. And I've done, this isn't stuck together because obviously I want to put it in the journal and stitch it in the centre of the single signature. But it's going to be, do you call it an accordion? It's going to be an accordion one. So they will stick, they will glue together there at the edges so that it's got lots of space to open. So it'll glue together at the sides. And I was going to cover this one, but the way it fell with the papers that I used, I actually thought it was quite nice. I'm going to put something on there and maybe a pocket or something on there. So that's what I want to do for the two signature journal. So that's where I'm going to start. That's what we're going to do today. So faff with me. Here we go. I've got, this is card. It isn't a file folder. It's thinner than file folder and it's not really heavy duty card, but it is a little bit sturdier. So what I'm thinking is, let me think a minute. The journal is 8 inches tall, so I don't want it to end up any taller than 8 inches. So this is going to be the height wise. So, and I need to fold 3 times ½ inch on both sides. So that's an extra 3 inches, 8, 9, 10, 11. So in my head, I only need this to be 11 inches. So if I line that up, and I know it's an ish, it's never quite right, is it? But I don't want it to be bigger than 11 inches. I only want, I don't want it to end up bigger than 8 inches. Otherwise it's going to be too tall for the journal. So I'm going to cut that off. So that should now give me 11 inches. It does. And the front of the pocket, I don't want it to be more than, I think, I'm going to say 5 inches. So I'm just putting my 5 inches on the centre there. Save those pieces, you never know. So that then should be 5 inches. And then that's going to be the pocket that pockets over. So I only want that to be, I'm going to do it 2 1/4. So I'm just lining it up with the front flap because I want to leave 1/4 inch where it folds, and then it's going to come over no more than 2, and I might need to cut that off. So what have I ended up with? I've ended up with a piece of card, and this, if you're going to make one of these, it's obviously going to be dependent on the size of the journal you're making. So I've got a piece of card that's folded. The front piece I've cut to 5 inches, the back piece I've cut to 7 1/4, and it's 11 inches that way. Fab. says me. And if this doesn't work, well, I'll do something with it. So I know that I need to measure 3/2 inches. So I'm going to open it to do it actually, because sometimes it's a bit hard to go through 2 layers. So that's 1/2 inch. I'm going to do it at 1 inch. You'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. And then 1 1/2. So I've got 3 creases, and I don't know if you can see them or not, but I've got 1, 2, 3 creases at 1/2 inch intervals. So I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then we're going to cross our fingers that it ends up with an 8 inch height. I guess if it's a tad higher it's not going to matter as much. So I'm doing those 3 again at 1/2 inch. I don't do very well with these scoreboards, I have to say. 1. See, it's moved now. There we go. 1 1/2. Okay, let me move that. I got the big scoreboard thinking it would be really useful, and I do struggle with it. So I'm just going to fold on those score lines. So the last one that we made, I folded inwards. The next one, which will be the middle one, I'm folding outwards. And then the last one, I'm folding in. Okay, so that gives us kind of a W. So turn it round, and I'm going to do the same again. So I'm folding against the last one that we made, inwards, outwards, and inwards. So I've got both those sides done. Now I want this bit, because that's going to be the height of the journal. Got my ruler. No more than 8, and it's just slightly less than 8, so that to me is perfect. That's what I don't want it to be any more than. Okay, now what I need to do is the same as when you make envelopes. If you can see, there's an awful lot of bulk in there. So what I want to do with this is I want to cut a little V. This is the centre fold here. So I'm just going to cut down to that 3rd fold. Cross your fingers, folks. And the same on the other side. So just to take a bit of that bulk out of the creases as far as that middle fold, and the same on the other side. So that then gives us that. Can you see it? I guess it's not very easy to see with it being the brown and the brown. But if they then fold in, can you see it lays a lot flatter there? Okay, so that's the start of my envelope. I don't need these bits here. That's something that I needed to do, isn't it? I need to fold where it's gonna fold over. So I did it to be, that's 5. So I want it 1/4 inch over the 5. So if I put, careful Carol, do it right. So if that folds up like that, that's there. So I'm going to do it on 2 inches, aren't I? Of course I am, because I want that flap to be 2 inches. So I'm going to Yeah, I'm going to score it at 2 inches. Like that. Move that out of the way. So that's going to be my, that may well be too big a flap, but I can always cut that back later. So what I need to do is cut this bit out here on both sides, because we don't need that when it flaps over, because these are folding in. They're the accordion part, aren't they? So I'm going to cut down that line. It's really hard to see what I'm doing, just as far as that fold, and I'm going to slightly angle it just to take that bulk out there as well, same as you would when you're making an envelope. Sorry, I can't see that line. I'm going to cut down that line to the fold and then slightly angle it. Okay, so that's what we've got now. Hope you can see that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That will go up like that, and that will fold like that. And then these, if you can see, will glue and become an accordion. Yeah, can you see that? So I'm happy with that. And then we can see where it's going to go. So we're going to have signature 1. We're going to have that in the middle and signature 2. So we're going to go all the way through signature 1. You're going to get to this. I'm not going to glue it together until I've stitched it in as a signature, but I thought that makes a really nice place for somebody to put their bits and pieces in there. And then that one. Oh no, I've got them back to front, haven't I? But you get what I mean. I might put another crease in here, just because as it fills out, it might just need like a couple of extra bits to help it fold over the bulk of whatever anybody should like to put in it. So I think I'm going to go do an extra 1/8 and an extra 1/8. So that's an extra 1/4 of an inch that it's got there. I think that'll work. I do think it'll work. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to decorate it, and I had thought, I've got these images out of the book, and I had thought to put that on there. I don't know if you can see it, I don't know if the light's shining on it, but I do like that. So bear with me a minute while I cut this down to the size to fit that. Okay, back again. So what I think I want to do, I'm just going to open those flaps out a little bit because it's getting in my way slightly. But what I want to do is put that on the front there, like so. And then when this comes over with its 3 creases in, I will put something, I think, over that as well. You can still, I don't know if you can see, but you can still see her. So I think that's going to go on there. And I'm going to stitch round it as well, just to give it some extra strength. So I'm going to glue this on, commit myself to it. I'll leave it to dry properly before I actually stitch around it. Sorry, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not, but I'm only putting my glue on. I just thought it'd be nice, seeing as it's a Queen Victoria, to have a image of her on it. I say I am going to stitch round it as well. Okay. And then I don't want it to quite... I think that's about right. Let's get it squidged on. There we go. So that will go like that, and they'll be folded in, and that will come over like that. And I'll put something on there. But I am going to stitch around that because I just want to make sure it stays on. Okay, and then on the back, do we want a big image of Queen Victoria? She's very regal in that, isn't she? Now, it depends if I can get that 8 inches tall. 7.5, 8, and I think I can. So I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to have her on the back. And it is slightly taller, isn't it? I'm going to do it 1/8 less than 8 to start with. And then I won't take any more off the top because I don't want to cut off the top of the crown. Yeah, just a fraction off, and that's going to come off at the bottom. So take another 1/8 off there. I'd rather have an edge round it than it catch, if you know what I mean, at the top and at the bottom. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I suppose I could. No, I don't want that going all the way round. No, I'm going to cut that so that I've got her on there. And I want that to fit there. So that's about, that measures 5 1/4. So I'm going to do it 5 1/8. Which bits do I want on? I've got to lose something from the picture, haven't I? 5 1/8. That's fine. I haven't chopped any of her hands off or anything, have I? And that'll be the back. Make sure I've got that the right way up. Okay, that's going on the back. Glue that on. And as I say, I'm going to stitch around it as well. So the edges, I'll zigzag round the edge so that the edges will be well and truly caught down. Lots of glue on there. Double check I've got that the right way up. Let's just open those a minute. Squish it on nicely, and I'm going to leave that to dry really well. So that's the back and that's the front. They go inside like that. They go inside like that. And I might try and find some lace or something to go on the flap. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's going to be the front. And that's going to be the back, and then so that's what it's going to look like in there. So you're going to open it to the middle, you're going to have those images there. I need to put some sort of closure on it, don't I? Didn't think about that. I might actually make this shorter because I've got quite a lot of space to play with. And then on the back there, so I might well add some lace over that bit after I've stitched around it. So that's where I'm up to, folks. That's what I'm going to do, and that's the 2 signature with the file folder in the middle. You can see it there. So there we go. So I hope you like it. I'm going to carry on working on them, so I don't know if I'll get a chance to do another video. I've got quite a lot going on the next couple of weeks. These are both going to have the CD cases in. I've got to put some tracing paper in that one. I'm going to make some little, glue those on there, I can't think what I'm saying, and then they're going to be the little journal cards that go in, little journal tags that are going to go in them. I'm going to make a few of those to go on as well. So I've got a few things that I'm doing, and it could be that the next time you see this it's going to be the flip through. But I hope this was useful. Again, me faffing and trying to think what I'm doing, but I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you so much for your comments. I really do appreciate your time. Thanks folks, bye.